and welcome back to the Detailing Bay. In this week's episode, we're tackling a subject that has a lot of misinformation around it, and we're hoping that by guiding you through the process, we're going to give you a no-nonsense approach and debunk some of those rumours. Today, we're talking ceramic coatings. Dave, it's a big subject, so where is the best place to start?
So the best place to start is assess what you want from the coating and how you're going to apply it. So, for instance, if it's going to be on your driveway, that's going to narrow it down to simpler products like, for example, can coat via Geon. But then if you can do it indoors, control your environment, then you can go for more, slightly more temperamental, longer lasting coatings like G-Technics, Crystal Serum and so on. So that's your first port really
So is there a bit of a trade-off between the performance of it versus how easy it is to apply in your environment you need?
Yeah, G-Technic's easy enough to apply, but it's just better done indoors. You need that bigger window. You don't want moisture in the air and the risk of like dust or anything else on its tacky stages. Like you're applying something like can coat, not only is it does it cure quicker, but it doesn't last as long. There is a trade-off with it, but it doesn't bite you as hard if something does go wrong. It's a sliding scale, and they're a good place to start if you're scared of them and you've never done them before. You go with something less durable.
Yeah, but if you get it wrong, you're not going to ruin it.
Yeah, you get the feel for it, but you're not putting something on there that's effectively designed to last 3 to 5 years.
Right. Why are they worth it? Because they are still a popular product, aren't they? It's the coating to have.
Yeah, I think a lot of people go for it because it's that buzzword, and then there's the other people that go for it because they've done the research, and yeah, it brings things sealants and waxes just can't compete with, and that's mainly that. It does increase the hardness usually of what your clear coat would have been. It's very subjective where it sits on the Mohs scale, for instance, of is it going to reduce scratching? Because if you get walloped with a bar or something, whether you had the coating or not, it's not going to make a difference.
Yeah.
But when you're going through like a narrow road and you got trees and whatnot, branches brushing against it, it's probably going to reduce the impact that it would, say, for instance, you didn't have a coating on there.
Definitely the slickness of it as
well.
The
slickness, 100%. The slickness, yeah, reducing friction. I always say, like, the slicker a coating, that's going to give you the biggest impact and difference on, if something does come into impact with it. And
they are, like you were saying, they beat your waxes and sealants because they're more chemical resistant as well, aren't they? So you can throw in a pH 14 snow foam on there, and it's even if it's a harsh chemical, it
can withstand it. I mean, traditionally these products, albeit they were hydrophilic rather than hydrophobic, were used on underground trains in like places like New York and that, so reduce the impact that spray painting had on them. But they'd literally paint this stuff on. It didn't have to look pretty, but what it did is stopped the spray paint bonding as well as it would just to the normal carriages.
Right. So why did they become hydrophobic? I'm not trying not to digress.
Because people like that. It's always been a thing. You think back to a day where it wasn't. With waxes, with sealants, people love that. Love the water effect. But I was once told by I won't mention names, but someone very into the development of ceramic coatings said the absolute best coating, if it was ever to be developed, would be hydrophilic.
Yeah, because we've said this before. Yeah, because you're not leaving those little magnifying glassy beads all over that collect dust and
you wouldn't. Yeah, it'd rid it of all that, but it wouldn't look pretty. It'd look like you had nothing on your car. But it's that weighing of, what do you want, protection? Do you want it to look pretty? Or let's try and make it so hydrophobic that stuff doesn't want to sit on the car at all. But you will never. That's the perfect storm.
Talk us through the process. So you've done all your wash, prep, everything ready to go. What's the process of applying your typical ceramic coating?
So you want to, let's say, for instance, we'll start with a door. I think it's best to try and do the entire door in one hit rather than breaking it down into sections. I've seen people break it down into sections, but you risk high spotting and overusing product. So let's take a car door, let's say a Ford Focus size door. Your applicator, there's two approaches you'll see. There's like suede back sponges, and then there's traditional suede block when you've got this cloth going round it. Whichever one of them two is your preferred method. You want to put 4 or 5 droplets onto there, maybe even a couple of extra. It doesn't matter too much at this point. You just don't want to completely saturate it because you'll waste product. And then you'll see people go, no, do cross hatches or do this, do that. You want to get the product on even and quickly. don't worry about being really methodical, doing these perfect straight lines. If you're too that way, you can also carry the risk of, again, creating high spots. So you just want to get it on really quick. So I just do nice fast swoops, up and down, up and down, up and down, really quite quick, left to right down, and then start removal process on the point where the ceramic first went down.
But how long do you leave it to flash though?
Varies depending on the coating, your environment. So I couldn't give a time at this point. So the best thing to do if you're unsure is to ask where you bought it from, because they will ask them where you're doing it. They'll take the fact that if it's this time of year, are you doing it outdoor, are you doing it indoor, can't you control your temperatures? There's many factors that can change, but it's always best if you're not sure, because there will be a guide with them. Always go a little bit early rather than a little bit too late, because one will give you far less issues than the other.
Yeah, you were showing me how to use this one particular product, and I was shocked that you took it off while it was almost still wet, and you said you were just like leveling it out more.
Yeah, because you can level it. This is the other thing with the application as well. As you get it at that right point, you'll level it on removal as well.
It just started like that hologrammy rainbow look.
Yeah, which is about the point. With that as well was a coating neither has I tried before as well. So it's kind of exercising that going early rather than later. But then if you went down and gave me a product I've used repeated amount of times, then you can be a little bit more. And you know how far you can push it, even if you're a bit late. Some are easier to undo than others.
Right. Well, that leads us on to what happens if you do it wrong.
So it depends at what point and what you have done wrong. If you've coated the car and the next day you've got this high spots which look like patchiness, the problem there is you've got an uneven coating, and you have to go back to see what product have you used. So let's use, say for example, it was can coat. So that can be removed, but you could even try reapplying a little bit of can coat and the solvent in it to see if that'll ease it off. If that won't, then a machine polish should be required, just the quickest and easiest way to get rid of it.
Would claying get rid of ceramic, or do you think it's just too tough?
Yeah, not really. No, I don't think you could try. If you've got residues where it's quite rough, you could try claying in that area, but they are very, very firm. So normally abrasion is the only route, but the problem with some coatings is, for example, a while back I had somebody who'd over-applied Seaquartz UK and over-applied it we worked out they put about 120 to 130 mil in total to do an entire car.
When you should use,
which is about 90 mil too much.
Yeah.
And you could see it's quite evident, like it was like a patchwork quilt.
Right. So as he's like dragging the ceramic suede across,
it's just
probably leaving trails behind.
Yeah, he's over-applying, he's overlapping, he's going back on areas he's already buffed off from. So you had it all. You had residues, you had bits where it's just not been buffed at all, and then you had these where it had buffed, but it was just massively over-applied. But then what he'd done is, it came to our attention about a month after he'd done it, because it'd been sat in the garage. So at this point, the coating's at its best in terms of it's been given a really good environment to cure. It's had that time. It's past that 30-day mark where it's done it all now. So your only approach there is even machine polishing is going to be, it's 50-50 how successful it's going to be.
Wow.
Without spending a lot of time. So, I mean, you'd eventually get through it, but it then becomes quicker to wet sand.
I was just going to say,
that's very,
something like that.
Yeah, wow. And that'll be clogging as you're doing it. It's not a nice process.
So err on the side of caution if it's your first time doing it.
Yeah, just go for these entry-level coatings, the ones that are gonna, and just understand if you want a 5-year coating, you're not gonna really successfully do it on your driveway. There will be someone out there that's managed it, and that's just that perfect environment that you couldn't have accounted for. You can't guarantee the weather. It's not worth the risk.
When you've nailed your coating, how do you maintain it? What's the best process?
A simple wash routine, pre-wash, bucket wash, followed with, you don't have to use it every time, but every second or third wash, a mild decontamination stage as well, which include a fallout remover.
Right. Would you go, when it comes to shampoo, would you go just pure dedicated shampoo, or would you go washes and wax, wash sealant?
If wash and wax is your thing, use wash and wax. not the biggest fan of them. What you'll find is these more synthetic versions for maintaining ceramic coatings, which do have like SiO2 in as well, which help top the beading up. The biggest killer for coatings is clogging, which kills the beading. So a lot of people will use maintenance products like Wet Coat and Hydro 2 to just keep that beading at its absolute best. But after, say, 6 to 9 months, say you've got a 2-year coating, there is products out there that will, harsher, it can tend to be like slightly acidic as well, which help unclog the pores on the coating.
Refresh that beading.
Yeah, and it does. It's quite impressive how much it'll bring it alive. Everyone thinks the coating's dead when it goes flat, but it's very rarely the case.
Right, so so when the water beading's gone, is it still protecting it? Is it still looking glossy?
If you think how hard these coatings set, and you're just purely grading it off water behaviour, and it's just not the case. Unless you've had the car's gone through something extremely dramatic, the coating's not going to have just fallen off. If it's straight after application, say 2 or 3 days after it, and there's no sign of it, then that could indicate that something's gone wrong in the application process, and it may not be even sat on there. Something's gone wrong. But if it's proven itself, you've had the hydrophobics, but 6 months later it's gone flat, the coating is still there. Yeah. It's just lost one component, which is the hydrophobic side.
I just want to ask as well about ceramic shampoos. While we were talking about a shampoo, that can't be used as a standalone ceramic coating, can it? Is that just a ceramic additive that's just a bit
There's loads of people throw around, like, especially like some mainstream brands that use that. So people go, oh, it's a ceramic shampoo, and they're bridging that from a ceramic coating and thinking all this, but it's used basically to give you that hydrophobic side. So a bit of water behaviour, that is what you're getting at best.
Yeah. I'm not a massive fan of them. They usually kill all your bubbles as well, don't they? You're just dragging water around, basically.
Yeah, let's use the Valet Pro one, which shocked me.
Oh, really?
Theirs has a sud to it. Really impressed with that one.
Is it effective as well?
Yeah, it works really, really well. It just gets missed off radar because they don't really dabble in that side of things. Right. But yes, Valet Pro
they're usually my Marmite products. Like, I hate them, but we got sent a sample of one, a new one, and that blew me away. And it's not a shampoo I'd use on its own. I'd wash the car first with normal shampoo. But then it's like, a really good wet coat. When you rinse it, really hydrophobic, glossy.
Their products are brilliant, and a lot of it developed and mixed in-house. They know what they're doing. It's just they don't go for that big advertising or the big fan. It does what it says on the tin. It's not one to be overlooked.
Right, well, hopefully that's made ceramic coating seem less daunting and broken down some myths in the process. So thanks for listening. Join us again next time when we'll be tackling more detailing jobs.